Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting special edition of the Ultimate Comics Podcast. My name is Nabeel and I'm one of your hosts.
And I'm Josh Kang, the other host.
And this is the podcast where normally we would be talking about Ultimate Marvel, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, the Ultimates, Ultimate Fantastic Four. But the past few weeks, every now and then we've taken a break just to do a special episode discussing one of the latest superhero movies that's come out. So a couple of weeks ago, we did Superman.
Yeah.
And this week, we are going to talk about the new Fantastic Four movie that just came out because we both just saw it in the past few days and we're very excited to discuss it.
You know we're nerds because we didn't wait for the prices to get cheaper. We saw it both on technically the release date, so we're big nerds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anyone who just loves the Fantastic Four or Marvel or comics in general, they were gonna see it within the first few days on opening weekend. You have to.
I will say this. This has been one of the movies I've been looking forward to for a while. I love the Fantastic Four. You guys, if you follow us on our regular Ultimate Comics podcast, you guys will know, along with Spider-Man, Ultimate Fantastic Four is my favorite of the Marvel lines.
Mm-hmm.
And along with Spider-Man and X-Men, it's one of the three Marvel comics I've just have read the most of over my life.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in a similar boat there. I love the Fantastic Four, always have. I even loved the original Fantastic Four movies from the 2000s, the ones with Chris Evans and Jessica Alba and everyone.
Yeah.
I loved those movies, and those got me interested in the Fantastic Four, and I love the comics even more.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, as time has gone on, I've recognized, okay, these aren't necessarily good movies, but they're fun, and I enjoyed them.
Yeah. I think that's what everyone says, is that the Fantastic Four movies were just fun. As I said to you before the recording, they don't deserve the 23% they got on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, I don't think they deserve all the hate that they were getting. I still enjoy them. Maybe that's just my nostalgia talking, but there's been a big resurgence of love for those movies in the past few years, and especially leading up to this new movie.
It wasn't maybe the best interpretation of the Fantastic Four, but I got a lot correct, and it came out in the worst time, I feel, where people wanted dark and edgy superhero movies, and Fantastic Four was just too bright and colorful, I guess, for the time.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stuff that was missing, I feel, from those movies. Let's just address the elephant in the room that Galactus was a cloud in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Oh.
I mean, that's an obvious thing that comes to mind of, okay, well, I don't think they were ready at that point to go all in on what makes the Fantastic Four. You look at those original movies and they get the family dynamics. I think the cast of characters are all very well done for the most part.
Acting is really well done in those movies, surprisingly, too.
Yeah, I love the cast. I love the family aspect of it. And then the fact they get it right that these guys are celebrities too and in the public eye. But I don't feel like they put a big enough emphasis on, if you'll pardon the pun, the fantastical, for lack of a better term, the wacky sci-fi out there concepts of the Fantastic Four and the unknown that they venture into on a regular basis and all the strange and bizarre things that they tackle. Writing wise and also special effects wise, I don't think superhero movies at that point were ready for something like that back in the day, like 20 years ago. I think now, after the rise of the MCU and as superhero and comic book movies has picked up in popularity and have become more part of the mainstream of the public consciousness, I think general audiences now are more ready for something like that, with everything that we've seen in Marvel movies generally.
The other one thing I heard about the Fantastic Four and why studios always had a hard time adapting it is that the Fantastic Four aren't superheroes per se. They're great characters who just happen to have superpowers and occasionally do a superheroing every once in a while.
Yeah, I think you see that. Spoilers ahead, in case anyone has not seen the new Fantastic Four movie, we will be discussing in great detail the new Fantastic Four film. But what I was going to say was that in this new movie, there isn't so much superheroing or big superhero action as your typical superhero movie, because at the end of the day, it's more of a family drama with a lot of sci-fi components, rather than, you don't have the big CGI fight fest that you see in a lot of, at the end of the Avengers, for instance. They're fighting Loki's army of the Chitauri, or Age of Ultron, where they're fighting a bunch of robots, or Infinity War, and all those Avengers movies, you see that. And a lot of the MCU movies, you'll end it with a big CGI fight fest. This is very different. It's not about all the big action set pieces and fight scenes. It's about all the big sci-fi set pieces of, all right, now we're launching into space in a rocket ship and we're going to Galactus's ship out in space and we're gonna then get chased out of there by the Silver Surfer and escape through a black hole. It's this big, fun sci-fi adventure spectacle rather than, oh, let's see who can punch harder than the other one. It feels like a different flavor of that. It's similar, of course, to a lot of the Marvel movies, but not quite the same.
There is a giant fight scene towards the end, but I think one thing interesting about this movie is that unlike Avengers, which is supposed to lead up to a giant battle, there's a giant battle at the end. For Fantastic Four, they're trying to avoid the battle, and it just happens they couldn't, and they grudgingly do this fight at the end, which is interesting.
Yeah, and the Fantastic Four at the end of the day, in general, like we've been saying, they're not about the fights and they're not about the superhero action. It's more about how are we going to solve this problem that has been created. And it starts off with them going, let's go on an adventure, let's journey into the unknown, let's discover this thing, or something has been discovered. And then a problem arises and they're like, how do we solve this? You know what, Josh? I think we've covered like enough of the basics so far. You want to just like dive into the movie itself and what we liked about it?
Yeah, one thing great about this movie is we don't, unlike the first movie or many other movies, is that just like Superman, I think the writers are aware we're all tired of superhero origin stories. They just rush to the intro. Same like the comics, actually. They rushed to how they got the powers. They went to space, they got hit by cosmic rays, and now they have powers. And then one thing interesting about this movie is, one, it's in a different universe, so they're kind of allowed to do their own thing. It's not, and it's also not super bound by all the canons of the other MCU movies. But also, it shows a sci-fi world where, like, there's a genius superhero scientist, and they actually improve the world. They use technology. It's, like, set in the 60s. It's very retro, but all the technology is very advanced because Reed Richards has just improved the technology of this world, and Sue Storm has negotiated world peace and the abolition of the military in every country. It's a very optimistic take.
Yeah, from the get-go, you can tell this is very different, not just from our world. I mean, it's a huge, stark contrast to our world, but also it's different from the MCU that we normally see in general. It's a very idyllic, fantastical land. It's this escapist world that we go into that kind of like takes us out of the perils and the stress of the everyday world that we live in right now, because as those of you who have gone outside can tell, things are not going so great in the world today.
It's literally getting hotter.
Yeah, temperature wise and in all sorts of ways. But what's nice about this movie is, it can come off maybe as a little bit cheesy and a little too hokey for some people, but I enjoy the escapist elements of this world they create, where it's a retro period piece set in the 60s, but you see in the world, like you're saying, Josh, technology has improved the world and everyone's happy and smiling, and it's set in the 60s, but like you see like people of color all over the place and they look happy. Like it seems like a world that actually has solved a lot of social and political issues, which wouldn't that be nice? It kind of takes you into that world and you get to experience that and feel good. And I think similar to Superman, it's cool that we got this 1-2 punch of superhero movies this month in July where you get a very optimistic, feel-good superhero movie that takes you into something that gives you hope for the future and gives you that feeling, which is, I think, exactly what you want, especially from a Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, and both these movies come out at an interesting time. When I was growing up, everyone wanted dark comics, everyone wanted dark superhero movies, and now we're kind of getting tired of that. We want an optimistic world. We want a world that's happier because Superman's saving everyone. We also, and like this has been like a running criticism of especially Marvel comics, but all comics generally, is that there's always this genius superhero that runs this super organization or this company, and they have all this technology. Why don't they share with the rest of this world? Like in the Marvel universe, why doesn't every plane have an arc reactor? In this one, Reed Richards does share his findings with the rest of the world, and then like the world is just remarkably better, and technology, instead of dividing us, is just bringing us together in ways where I think it could. It just isn't, because we're not using it well when we put it in the hands of the wrong people. In this world, Reed Richards, because it's so selfless and a genius, he gives technology to the people, and life is just better for it.
I agree with that, everything you're saying, and I think what's cool is that this movie is set in its own world that centers entirely almost around the Fantastic Four and all the good that they've done.
Yeah.
It opens on this ABC special, just showing us their origins and where they came from and how they came to be and all the exploits and adventures of the Fantastic Four. And it does feel like we're finally just giving the Fantastic Four their flowers
I
in a
know.
sense, because this is Marvel's first family. These are the guys to start it all in a sense. This was the first major creation of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. This is the franchise, and these are the characters in the world that started the larger Marvel universe as we know it today. So it's cool that they're like, all right, let's disconnect it from the main MCU. Let's put the spotlight on them. Let's make them the center of attention, the Fantastic Four. And let's set it in the 60s. It's like a love letter, it feels like, to the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby
Yeah.
era, the original run of the Fantastic Four. I feel like it was very much made for the fans too, in a way where it gave us everything we ever wanted out of a Fantastic Four movie, because after the pretty decent, not like super good Fantastic Four movies of
And
the
the Fan Four Stick.
2000s, and after the abysmal Fan Four Stick, and let's not even talk about the unreleased Roger Corman 1994 movie. After so many different attempts, it's time finally, and after seeing the success of Iron Man and Captain America and the Avengers and everything, I think fans have been hungering, like, but the Fantastic Four, what about them? These are the guys who started it all. I mean, I know I have as a big Fantastic Four fan. I'm like, please, can we get this and let's get it right? And I think they understand that. Everyone involved at Marvel Studios, like Kevin Feige and everyone, like, they all understand that. And I think they wanted that about as much as the fans did. You know, people like Kevin Feige, they are fans, and they wanted to make sure that we don't waste any time giving the Fantastic Four the love and the respect that they deserve.
One thing I find really interesting is that for a while, studios just didn't know how to adapt the Fantastic Four. I think it's because they just kept wanting to do like Fantastic Four, they're superheroes. And Feige being a fan said like, well, they're more than superheroes. And then we don't need to do like a 1 hour movie about how they got their origins. Just zoom through it. It's a simple story and just go like, oh, Mole Man, like the Great Thinker, like they're not bad villains, but like you don't need to make a whole movie about them beating those guys. Just beat them up in the first few minutes.
Yeah,
Which is
they
what they
show
did.
us this montage during this special that, well, first of all, it also makes us want to know more about this world, because this ABC special at the beginning, you get to see, like you're saying, the Mole Man and the Red Ghost and his super apes and the Mad Thinker. And you see, this is very clearly a tribute to the original Fantastic Four run. You even see like an homage to the iconic cover of Fantastic Four #1, where they're fighting the Mole Man and his giant monster emerging from the ground.
Yeah.
And it makes you want to know more and learn more. And you can see very much, even though they do breeze through it and give you like the cliff notes of what happened, you're also like, wow, this world feels very lived in. It feels like there's histories to these characters and there's history to their adventures.
Yeah.
And you want to be part of that. I mean, I did.
Yeah, it's great. And I love the music for it, where it's like very messianic, very church-like, when they literally just scream "Fantastic Four," and then it gets all sci-fi. No, and also this is like a weird take, but like this is a very messianic movie. It's like it's what people have always been imagining for thousands of years. It's like, oh, a great scientist and his wife basically make the world a better place. I guess Sue Storm's also a great scientist in this movie too, but she negotiates world peace, and they create the Future Foundation, which is more of a recent. I say recent, but it's like actually been around for decades now, I think.
Yeah, relatively recent, because it's been there since the Jonathan Hickman run on Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
which is relatively recent because these characters have been going since the 60s, so it took them like 45 years or something to create the Future Foundation.
I'm just not comfortable with the idea that something that I remember happening in comics when I was a kid and a young person is now like, oh no, that's been around forever, right? I'm like, no! I remember before that! No!
It's been almost like 20 years now, I feel like.
No,
it's been like a good 15 years since the Future Foundation was introduced. Yeah,
I've worked with people who were born after 9/11, man. It always gets uncomfortable when you find out. Anyway.
But it's cool. They include so many essential, I feel, quintessential aspects of the Fantastic Four. Sue Storm has helped start the Future Foundation with her peace accords at the UN.
Yeah.
And Herbie is around, the robot assistant that they have, and he's so much fun and he's adorable. He helps them out with all their needs, because why wouldn't Herbie be there?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be in the Baxter building? Why wouldn't they have all this high-tech equipment around and have this little robot guy rolling around to help them out with whatever?
It's Jetsons. It's like not just as a love letter to like the era. It's a love letter to old sci-fi and
Hmm.
superhero stuff, where it's all about making people come together, solving problems. Because in the grand scheme of it, things don't get better in the MCU. Like, yes, at the end of the movie, it's better than what it was in the middle of the movie, where there's a giant super like monster blowing up half of New York. But in the MCU, things generally don't get better. If anything, they're actually worse because Thanos snapped half of everyone and they came back.
And then you have issues in the MCU with like collateral damage and everything from
Yeah,
the fights, and that leads to civil war and the public kind of feeling this mistrust of superheroes. And that feels a little closer to the world that we would live in if superheroes existed. The world that the Fantastic Four live in is so far removed from that,
yeah.
where everyone loves them and they're celebrities and they're icons and they're so beloved.
They're
And they take off in their ship and everyone's waving their hats at them and they're like smiling and looking up at the sky at the Fantastic Four.
when they go to space, people are waving flags of like the U.S. because this takes place in the U.S., the United Nations, and the Future Foundation, and the Fantastic Four logo. Like they're up there with like, oh, the world government and our country. We love them just as much. And in the opening scene with Mark Addis, who is a great actor, and they have him as like the TV host guy, they literally just have everyone just saying thank you, Fantastic Four. And I was like, no, I totally believe everyone loves the Fantastic Four. They brought world peace and they made everyone like it a better place. It kind of seems like the world's so dependent on them, and it borderline's like, oh, it's like Sue and Reed just running this planet, but running Earth, but yeah, kind of Doctor Doom-esque over there, actually.
Well, I was telling Josh before we started recording, it does feel very much like Batman 1966 with Adam West and Burt Ward, where they've got like the hotline and everything set up, and Commissioner Gordon's constantly calling them for help with anything.
Yeah,
And they feels like they're so dependent on Batman and Robin to solve pretty much any problem. That's what it feels like in this world for the Fantastic Four,
yeah.
because they're also the only heroes in this world from what we could see so far anyway. If there are other heroes in that world, they haven't been mentioned yet.
Because there's not a lot of people with superpowers. Like they have a few villains, but it's only like a few people. Also, we do know in the mid credits, we know there's a Doctor Doom in this universe to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is both like a horror figure in the movie. When we see, he's honestly generally terrifying. It's a dark hood. It's evil, and I'm like, yes, that's perfect for the evil wizard king that runs a country in the
Yeah.
comics.
Well, yeah, even at the beginning of this movie, when you see Sue speaking to the UN, there is one seat that is empty, and that is for the country of Latveria.
Yeah,
So it seems like there's an implication that there could be a Doctor Doom running around in this world, and it's unclear. I'm not sure so far as to if that is who is going to be Robert Downey Jr.'s version of the character, or if that's a different version of the character, or maybe there isn't even a Doom in this universe and that's another ruler, who knows. But
yeah,
Latveria exists, so I'm interested to see going forward with Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like,
yeah.
all right, is this the Doom that is going to be like the central villain of these movies, or what are the implications there?
After this thing where Mark Gaddis shows everyone, like all these teachers, scientists, doctors, and firefighters going, thank you, Fantastic Four, because, this is like a utopia the Fantastic Four brought along. The next scene is like, we find out, like, Mr. Fantastic, they kind of do this thing where, like, he's a big nerd, he's clumsy, which is fine. Pedro Pascal plays him, and he keeps his mustache, which
Yeah.
did take me a bit out of it, but he still was a fun Fantastic Four. Vanessa Kirby does an American accent, and she reveals that she's pregnant. They gave
Yes.
up. They gave up trying to have kids a few years ago.
Well, they tried for 2 years, is what they said. Yeah.
They tried for 2 years, and then they said they gave up. And then she goes like, "Well, it's not the talking that matters," which I don't know. It implies that they're sexually active. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what being in a healthy relationship is for a lot of people.
I don't know. I don't like the idea of superheroes just porking up every day,
They're
every night.
married and they were trying to have a kid. Of course they would be having sex.
They gave up trying to have a kid.
They're supposed to stop having sex now?
I don't know. I mean, I feel weird. Like, okay, so one thing that they always had was weird about the Fantastic Four was Mr. Fantastic has stretchy powers, and they always don't know what to do with it because it's really weird to see it in live action. It's kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And here they kind of really tone it down, which is fair. Mr. Fantastic's powers are secondary to him in the comics. Not that they're not important, but they're secondary to his genius. But here it's just like, I just don't like the implication of him having those powers and then porking and making everything bigger or smaller or stretchier.
You don't have to think about it.
We all are thinking about it, though.
I mean, too many people are thinking about it, I think.
Including some comic writers, because they reference it.
Yes. Yeah, I'm like, I don't need to see it. Like if that happens off page or off panel or off screen, that's fine. But
Yeah,
I don't need to I don't need to know the mechanics of Reed and Sue's bedroom life. All right. I
yeah.
don't need that.
Yeah. Sue is also Vanessa Kirby, so Sue's kind of the leader of the Fantastic Four. This one kind of seems to be true. She is the one that negotiates world peace. Reed and
Yeah.
like Sue basically run this whole team, but not that
Yeah.
like Johnny and Ben aren't important, but Sue basically is like the administrative leader of this team, basically.
Yeah, I mean, she's the glue that holds them all together.
Yeah,
She's the one really like running the show because Reed is the big ideas man for sure, and obviously the brains of the team, like the big genius.
yeah,
But she is also the den mother of the group, as
yeah,
she has been in the comics. So she is really the one that connects the most with each member of the team and kind of holds them together and keeps them on the right track.
yeah,
But the movie really, the whole thing starts out, like we were saying, with Reed and Sue discovering that Sue is pregnant. And there's this big announcement at they have this like family dinner, which is
yeah,
very cute. That's what I love about this movie. Again, they very much emphasize this is a family because
yeah.
the thing is making dinner for everyone.
With
And
Herbie,
yeah, with Herbie and Johnny is like munching on cereal beforehand. And the thing's like, you're going to ruin your appetite. Like, come on, man.
I love the Thing in this movie. And to be fair, other than fan forcing, I don't think Thing was ever done badly in the other movies. They always got him right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you watch those original movies, and Michael Chiklis as the thing is just perfection, like
Yeah.
Chef's Kiss.
And he has such a strong New York accent. Also, this, as far as Marvel movies go, and MCU, this is the most touristy New York City movie. Like, I don't think you could put any other MCU movie as like a New York City movie, even though it all takes place in New York City. This is the movie that's like very much shows off the streets, real life locations and streets of New York City in a way other
Mm.
Marvel movies haven't done, unless you count the Tobey movies as MCU movies. But
I mean, yeah, it is very New York, and we'll
yeah,
get into that a little bit more. But
yeah,
the whole plot really centers on all right, so now we have the baby on the way for Sue. And
mhm,
then we also see this movie is really like a big adaptation as well of the Galactus trilogy from the Lee Kirby OG comics, like their big magnum opus of
yeah,
that run. Like it's a big deal, this story. And it's so cool because I love the way that Galactus arrives, just like in the original comics, or at least the way his arrival is announced, because you see the flaming meteors falling from the sky, just like in the Lee Kirby stuff. And
mhm.
the Silver Surfer showing up to herald his arrival. It's so cool. Like you're saying, Josh, the planet is so dependent on the Fantastic Four, and they have so much faith in them that, of course, they send the Fantastic Four to go out and try and like talk to Galactus and negotiate and see what's what. A big part of the plot that I loved was that it takes them off world,
Yeah,
because of course that doesn't happen in like the original Galactus trilogy. I mean, other than if you count like Johnny being sent by Uatu the Watcher to find the ultimate nullifier, but that's, you don't have to worry about that, everyone listening. But in this, I love how they go on their voyage a second time into space, and
it's
it's a
it,
really cool sequence, the way that they go to like face Galactus, and they like basically take off just the
yeah.
way that they did in their origin, but now obviously everything's changed.
It's also interesting because in this Fantastic Four go to space all the time. In this case, it's their second time because they're still really traumatized. Or Reed's really traumatized that the first time they went to space, they all got messed up, or Ben really got
Mm-hmm.
messed up. And there's always this big meme of Ben being the dumb one. And I guess he's not as smart as Reed, but he is like canonically this great pilot. And here he goes like, "Oh, we got to do airlions. We got to know the calculations of like going around this black hole." And Johnny also has the hots for Silver Surfer because he's a big horn dog. No one's
Yeah, I mean, I think that's joked about a lot throughout the movie.
yeah.
I love this Silver Surfer subplot that the Human Torch has. I think a lot of people were joking and memeing about before the movie came out, like, okay, the Silver Surfer's a woman now in this version. So, like, how long until, like, she and Johnny start boning or whatever? And there's, like, jokes about it in the movie about, like, oh, Johnny, there's your girlfriend. And, oh, so you're just in love with this Silver Surfer. And yeah, I think there's probably some truth to it because he does call her a sexy alien. But Johnny also has this cool subplot where he actually is trying to learn more about the Silver Surfer and translate her language and try and like understand a little more so he can like reach out to her and get through to her. It's crucial for the plot. And I think it's cool because it's pretty much the same way in the original Galactus trilogy in the comics, how Alicia, the Thing's girlfriend and then later wife, is the one to the original Silver Surfer, Norrin Rad. She kind of gets through to him and appeals to his humanity, and that ultimately is the thing that gets through to him and gets him to turn on Galactus, which is a key to defeating him in the original comics. And I feel like Johnny plays that same role that Alicia plays in the comics, but with this version, Shala Bal as the Silver Surfer.
We also do get Alicia in this movie. I think that's Natasha Lyonne's character.
No, that is not.
Really?
I was actually at first kind of upset about that. Her name is Rachel Rosman in this movie.
Because they do change her character a lot to be Alicia. She's not blind. She's not a sculptor. She's an elementary school teacher with a thick New York accent.
Yeah. And I was... What was that?
That was my New York City accent.
It sounded like you just had like a hernia or something.
Well, that's how New Yorkers talk.
They don't go, ah!
Yeah, they do. You've been to Manhattan?
I've heard some stereotypical New York noises, and that is not one of them.
I've seen Bernie Sanders. You've seen Bernie Sanders. He came to our university. You know how like New Yorkers talk.
I never heard Bernie Sanders do that.
You've seen the president. He talks like that. That's my New York City accent. Lots of spit.
Oh, God.
Lots of
Every episode, I learn more and more about you, Josh. You never disappoint. So, anyways, what I was going to say, too, is Rachel Rosman, I was upset about this character a little bit at first, because I was like, where's Alicia? Give me Alicia. Like, I love Alicia Masters in the comics because she's vital to the Thing's story, and she is also a vital part of the family of the Fantastic Four, because she and the Thing get married later, and then they adopt children, and she's very firmly entrenched in the Fantastic Four family. I think if you read even the latest Ryan North run on the Fantastic Four, she's such an important character. But I actually wasn't that upset when I learned a little bit more about this original character that created Rachel Rosman, because from what I've read a little bit, it said that she might be like kind of a tribute to Jack Kirby's wife, whose name is Rosalind Goldstein. She was just nicknamed Roz for short. And that makes sense, because I think a lot of people can tell at this point that the Thing has so many similarities to Jack Kirby. He's basically like Jack Kirby if he became a big orange rock monster. Jack Kirby put a lot of himself into this character. They're both these guys who grew up in like the rough and tumble streets in New York, like two tough guy Jewish boys who have good hearts actually, and very down to earth, salt of the earth kind of people. So it makes sense. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I hope they introduce Alicia later, but for now, that's pretty cool.
Or they could just make her blind, which is a dark thing to say.
Let's blind this character to make her more like Alicia. That's crazy, Josh.
Okay, it sounded worse once I said it out loud. I'm honestly surprised they got Natasha Lyonne to play this character, because she's such a big hit actress and she loves playing big roles. She has like a thick New York accent, and like she loves being like the main action star. So kind of surprised they got her to be like a B-plot love interest, though she does play it really well.
It's a very small part, but it's good.
I really liked it. That being said, like, if I had to cut something from the movie, I would have cut like the Thing's plot.
It's not a huge, like, super important plot line. I could see it as like a deleted scene in another version of the movie where, like, all right, I can see why they would have deleted it, because it's nice, but also it doesn't really add too much to the movie.
Yeah, it adds stuff to the Thing, but we got so much from the Thing anyway. Like, so they go to space, UN and the Future Foundation, which has basically emerged at this point. Like, the lady running the UN I looked her up. I thought she was the Secretary General, but she's the CEO of the Future Foundation. So Fantastic Four basically run the planet, basically, other than Latveria. They go to space.
Yeah, and it's a really cool sequence in space, and this is like what I was looking for in a Fantastic Four movie that I don't really feel like we got properly in previous movies, is the four of them venturing out on this like cosmic adventure. And like they're astronauts pretty much in this.
Explorers.
And so it's cool.
they bring in so many interesting sci-fi and aeronautical concepts. Like they're going through wormholes, they're going faster than light. The fantastic car has to attach itself to another thing to bring it into like faster than light. And once they're out of it, they detach from it. Very interesting concepts. And then they go to negotiate with Galactus, and he surprisingly goes like, "Yeah, I'll negotiate with you."
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, basically, so I will spare your planet if you give me your unborn child.
And then he goes like, "Inside her lays the power cosmic," and they're like, "We
Yeah,
don't even know what the power." Which is so the Marvel fans all know. Oh, it's the power cosmic. None of these guys know what the power cosmic is. They just go like, "He's talking gibberish." We don't know what power cosmic is.
yeah. But for those of us who do know and who know pretty much anything about the Fantastic Four, we know that their son, Franklin Richards, in the comics is this like cosmically powerful being
Mm.
who, up until a couple of years ago, was a mutant
Yes.
and had these like insane godlike abilities. So it's a big deal that they introduced that concept in this movie, and it's really cool because we know who he's going to become, and he
Yeah.
becomes really cool.
Yeah.
But also they're scared now of like, oh my gosh, we thought this baby was normal. What's going to happen
Yeah.
if this Galactus guy wants our child as this bargaining chip for our planet? And so, of course, they say no. And then, like, it's a really cool chase sequence. I love the escape that they have to escape from the Silver Surfer through this black hole. And the whole chase sequence is so cool. And the stakes are so high in this movie throughout, especially because Sue goes into labor as they're trying to flee from the Silver Surfer.
It's also very Star Wars-esque because they're getting on the turrets in the back. Reed and John are like trying to blast her, and at one point, everyone just looks shot when Sue goes, "Johnny, kill her."
Yeah.
And John
I
is
was
like,
like, that
"What?"
was hardcore.
Because like Sue said, she negotiated world peace, and she was like, "Johnny, you gotta kill her now. You just gotta kill her."
There's so many moments in this movie where Sue goes like full mama bear because at this point she is in labor and they're like flying at this high speed chase and this Silver Surfer is trying to steal her baby, her like unborn child.
Yeah.
I can see exactly why she would be like, kill her, fight or flight, and she goes full fight all the way.
Here she goes, and it's funny because everyone was like, "What? Like you're nice, Sue," and she was like, "Johnny, this thing's after your nephew. You gotta kill her."
Yeah.
And of course, the thing with the Silver Surfer is, I don't think the Silver Surfer has the power cosmic because she's so depowered in this one. But
Well, I think the Silver Surfer is still pretty powerful in this movie.
yeah, but I don't see the Silver Surfer like turning like buildings into stone like he would do in the comics. But Johnny shoots her off the board, which works, and then like the like those apps where he just return her, like she just flies back to her board.
Yeah, exactly.
They do trick her into falling into a black hole. And it's shown, and like it's really interesting because she's like screaming as she's falling to the black hole. She's trying to get out. And then like you thought like, oh damn, they killed the Silver Surfer, but of course she comes back out once they escape. Yeah. And interesting, Ben probably maybe because of its military training from the comics or whatever, is able to like help Sue. Like he's the one that like cuts the umbilical cord and everything, acts as medic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, surprising agility for a guy with rock fingers, but yeah.
Yeah. I think since it's been a few years since they've done the Fantastic Four, I'm sure he's learned to like deal with his massive rocky form and to adjust to that appropriately.
Do you remember the original movie where he was accidentally eating forks and he only had like 4 fingers?
Yeah, I remember that. And when like glasses would shatter in his hands and he'd sit on the stool and it would break from under him.
I also just remember the scene. I actually just saw a review of it where there's like a scene where he tries to drink orange juice out of a bowl and Johnny just steals it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. They go to Earth. Everyone's happy because the Fantastic Four are big celebrities. Not only is there talk show, they're betting on the gender of the baby, like 2000s paparazzi.
Yeah.
Yeah. But everyone's happy, and they go like, "Yeah, we just assumed you beat Galactus." And they go, "Oh, we did it."
Yeah.
Oh, like
Johnny's like, "Hey, not yet, guys. Not yet."
Also, like he totally eats planet. We saw him eat a planet. Like this guy's totally gonna eat all of us. And Mr. Fantastic goes, "Oh, like he offered too high of a price for him to like not eat us." And they go like, "What's the price?" "Oh, like he wanted to eat our baby." And everyone goes like, "You should have just given him your baby."
This is a part in the movie when I was just thinking like, dude, just lie.
Yes,
you don't have to tell anyone that he wanted your baby and you said no. You could have easily just been like, we tried to negotiate, we failed. End of story.
Or just change it a little thing. He wanted to eat every baby. Everyone will go, "Oh, we don't want to sacrifice every baby to this guy."
That would have been a very funny lie. Just like, yeah, he wanted the firstborn child of every family on Earth.
I want to go, oh man, this guy eats plant. That makes sense. No, he just said he wants my kid, and he said no, and I was like, look, I don't blame them for
Yeah.
saying no, but also I also don't blame anyone for going, boo.
Yeah, the rest of the world is then like, fuck you. Like,
Yeah,
what do you mean?
like we finally have a reason to hate you. You should just give him the baby.
And what's really funny is because they very much play up the celebrity aspect of the Fantastic Four in this movie, is that I could really see in real life like a scandal like this. The memes that would come out of this, like, yeah, these big celebrities, the Fantastic Four, they're so selfish. They won't give up their baby to save the planet. Just all the memes to come out of, like, I can just feel it being a very big celebrity scandal, like, in story to the extreme of like a lot of the celebrity stories that we have today.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Sue Storm, look at her, so selfish, parading around with her baby that she wouldn't even give up so that she could save the planet. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Also, because they're celebrities, like people also know where they live, and they're like rioting outside the Baxter building.
Yeah, and again, this is how idealistic this world is, and how you can tell it's very much a fantasy world. First of all, Sue manages to quell like the rioters outside by giving this whole moving, heartwarming speech that was really well done and nice about how she's not giving up her baby, but also they consider the whole world part of their family, so that she's not giving up on the earth either. And everyone is they start applauding, everyone's all for it. I'm like, if this happened in the real world, people would be throwing shit at her.
Yeah.
They'd still be screaming. They'd be rioting.
What about our babies?
Yeah, literally. So I'm like, that's great for them, but that's not how it would go down in this world.
That's like they should have lied. It's like Galactus is after every baby. There's no way for them to know.
Yeah, they should have lied.
I also forgot there's a cult of Galactus, so I guess if they said that, they would have just kidnapped every baby. It's like,
yeah, that's true. I feel that that is very reflective of the world. Like, yeah, there would be a cult of Galactus if he was coming to this planet. There would be some fringe cultists who would be like, our savior Galactus has come to end us.
I mean, what are you gonna do? You gotta go, oh, there's a giant guy, and all your best scientists just confirm, yeah, he is just a giant dude who eats planets. What do you do? Best you could do is beg him not to eat your planet.
Yeah, exactly.
We also find out, like, this is the big thing about Galactus, that, like, he's eaten a ton of planets with people on them, and they figure it out. Yeah, so anyway, Reed goes, like, maybe we do have to give up, like, just sacrifice the baby, and also the things on the streets, and he hears, like, people, like, being mean to him, going, like, we have families too, man. Which is, like, I don't blame anyone for not giving up their baby, but also I don't blame people for being upset.
But all things considered, in the words of Ryan George, convincing the public to be on board with their plan to stop Galactus is super easy, barely an inconvenience. It's like, all right, well, now you got everyone back on your side after about 5 minutes of hating you for not giving up your baby. And they come up with this big plan that Reed immediately comes up with after Sue's speech of like, well, what if we like teleport the Earth into a similar solar system that's far enough away from Galactus that it'll take him like billions of years or something to find his way over to us? Which is basically like, why don't we take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else?
But it's also this is such a love letter to sci-fi, because this is a real sci-fi idea, though. Is that like, oh, what if the sun implodes and it, like, expands, and they go like, we'll just have to teleport or move the Earth? This is very much a love letter to those kind of crazy sci-fi ideas. And also, Reed gets the idea because he teleports an egg and goes like, oh, if I could teleport the egg, I could teleport like the planet. And Johnny goes, dude, like, you knocked out the power grid trying to teleport one egg.
Yeah, like it's going to be quite the feat. And I think it is, once again, this is very much this paradise utopia world, because somehow the Fantastic Four managed to mobilize the entire world. Countries around the world are setting up these like towers for teleportation purposes for the whole planet and cooperating with this, and B, they're also, the whole planet is cooperating with this whole plan of, we have to conserve power for the teleportation towers, so we have a power curfew that everyone has to stop using their power for this number of hours. This made me immediately think of like when COVID hit. If this had been in our world, once again, we would be dead. We would have died, because COVID is like the mask mandate. Like, not everyone's cooperating with that. Vaccines, we would have gotten to herd immunity if everyone could just take their vaccines. But once again, in this world, the real world we live in, it's so difficult to get everyone to agree to something and everyone to do something together.
It reminds me of how, like, I think I could be wrong, but like there was a Spider-Man PS4 DLC where like there's a giant gas killing people, and Spider-Man tries to save everyone, and you have to convince people to move to a different spot. And people and the video game reviewers like it's unrealistic that people won't believe there's a giant green gas killing everyone if there's a giant green gas. And I'm like, and the next year, people reviews were like, we apologize, COVID happened. And turns out people didn't believe COVID was a thing.
Yeah.
But like, it's also this love letter of like, this is what humanity is possible. We could mobilize each other to save our planet from climate change. We could use the technology we have to make things better, to conserve energy, and we just choose not to. To be fair, it's like all of us choosing not to. But this one, Reed Richards, the genius scientist, goes, I have a plan, guys. We just gotta build these batshit crazy machines and just conserve energy, all of us. And everyone just agrees to it. It's a beautiful message to a certain degree, too.
It is. It's beautiful. It shows us, like you're saying, like what we're capable of as the human race, what we can do if we all band together and cooperate and pool our resources and work together. Like, it's cool to see. Of course, the plan goes sideways, as it always does when the Silver Surfer destroys most of the teleporters towers. And so the plan pivots to like, okay, I guess we're just going to trick Galactus when he shows up into stepping inside one of the teleporters, and then we'll teleport him far, far away.
Of course, the Silver Surfer, the last one is the one in Manhattan, and the only reason it's not destroyed is because Johnny put together the Silver Surfer's language and like forced her to realize, hey, you know, like all those planets that Galactus destroyed, there are people on them, and like I hope you're okay with the fact you just destroyed all those planets, and then like the recordings are full of different aliens screaming because Galactus is eating their planet alive.
Yeah. This whole subplot, again, is a good twist on the original idea of it maintains the essential element of the Silver Surfer feels the guilt and the weight of all her actions and how she has aided and abetted the murder of like countless trillions of people from different planets across the universe. It appeals to her conscience and her sense of humanity, and also shows why and how she became Silver Surfer to begin with. And it's a cool way to show, like, hey, Johnny is very capable and smart on his own, too. When he locks in and focuses, I think it's easy to stereotype the Human Torch as the himbo of the team. Just leave it at that. Like, oh, he's the jokey, like, himbo, like, slacker guy. But when he locks in and he focuses, I'm like, wow, he translated an entire alien language and then managed to, like, decipher some transmissions and get the Silver Surfer to their side. It's cool.
They have to lure Galactus to Manhattan and teleport him because they only have a couple seconds. I think it's like 37 seconds to teleport him. And of course, Manhattan still has people, so they get the Mole Man to evacuate everyone. And it's funny because there's a scene where he goes, I'm not worried about Galactus. Like, he only eats the surface dwellers. And they go, oh no, he starts at the core, man.
Yeah, like you're gonna be first.
Yeah, he says it's like those weird people who eat apples by somehow starting at the core.
Yeah.
It's like, no, Galactus is gonna eat you first. And he goes, oh, damn, that's...
Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool seeing them get help from one of their villains. I love that. That's one of my favorite tropes in like superhero and comic book media, is when you get one of the villains to help you because there's something bigger and badder out there, and you get the cooperation of the Mole Man evacuating everyone to Subterranea.
Yeah, so is the Mole Man the only person there, or is there like just more people there in this universe?
That's what I don't know. See in the beginning, there's like a whole society down there that he runs, like Subterranea, like in the comics.
Are they even people though, or are they just like?
I think some of them are people. Some of them are like monsters. I don't know.
He listens because Sue convinces him, and also in the beginning of the movie, Sue's the one that peace between the surface world and the mole people.
Mm-hmm.
Mole people, but. Just funny. That's like, it sounds like a slur, but they're literally mole people. I think she gives him a seat at the UN too, or something.
Yeah, and there's this big showdown at the end with Galactus where they keep him away from Franklin and then try to lure him into the teleporter.
Yeah.
And then they have to fight Galactus, and because he's too smart to just step into the teleporter, so they have to like push him in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool because you get a really badass moment from Sue going full Mama Bear energy once again and shoving him into this portal. Then the Silver Surfer at the last second jumping in as Johnny is about to sacrifice himself and like go into the portal with Galactus, but the Silver Surfer pushes him out of the way, and she last second like shoves him into the portal.
Yeah, and it's like so the first thing she says to Johnny in the beginning of the movie is like, go die with your own, and it's her basically telling Johnny, you should just die with your people, I'll push Galactus in. And I remember the original Fantastic Four movie, Sue gets like a nosebleed if she uses her powers too much. In this case, she just dies. She pushes Galactus and dies.
She dies momentarily. It's this big dramatic thing from the end because she really pushes herself. And I think Vanessa Kirby's acting was phenomenal
Oh
in
yeah,
this scene. It's got to be hard to do, especially this fact that when you're doing that scene, there's nothing there. So she's just standing there with these very convincing hand gestures and like screaming as if she is the one pushing like these invisible force fields at this giant like cosmic being into a portal.
yeah.
Like she has to imagine that.
And I honestly thought she did die for a second until like Franklin Resurrection, by the way, and until I saw like Franklin being there, I honestly thought she did die. Because the thing with Galactus is it's not like just any Marvel villain could just beat up. He is like the big threat. He eats planets, and
Yeah.
yeah,
He's not your ordinary villain.
no.
In a lot of ways I don't even think he's a villain, but we'll get into it when I start talking about Galactus more. But
Okay.
yeah. Franklin does bring her back, and at first I'm like, okay, I was rolling my eyes a bit because I'm like, we know she's not gonna die. It's gonna be fine. And as soon as Franklin, I'm like, oh, totally. I
Yeah.
called it. I was like, his
Yeah.
powers are gonna bring her back. And
And
it was cool seeing the stars in her eyes as she was revived by
because the power
Franklin.
cosmic.
Exactly.
And the other interesting thing is that like throughout the whole movie, they do tests on Frank. They do his blood samples. They do the whole scans, and he's still normal. And Reed just goes, "Maybe there is something special about you." Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's cool.
yeah. Also, just saying, I told you multiple times. If they didn't abolish the military, they could have fought Galactus. Like Galactus got hurt by the thing getting slapped across his like body. Mr. Fantastic hurt him, and there's this weird body horror thing where it's stretching Mr. Fantastic out. Mr. Fantastic out.
Yeah,
Like,
that was nasty.
yeah,
I was like, Jesus, someone come and save him.
I
Like, you're
know.
gonna tear this poor man apart. You're like stretching him like he's in like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Yeah, but everyone's able to hurt him, so I'm saying if we had the military around, we could have nuked Galactus. I bet a tank would have hurt him a bit.
A tank would have been like a bee sting, I bet.
That still hurt. Have you been stung by a bee? Those fucking hurt.
Yeah, but I doubt it would do that much. He's Galactus.
We have like thousands of tanks now. We have millions of tanks actually in the world right now. That could have hurt Galactus.
Who knows?
The movie kind of ends with them like at the game show, and then like they're about to show up to Mark Addis's where he's gonna thank them again because the whole world loves Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And then they don't show up because they get an emergency thing, and they do the classic thing of I don't know why they're even bringing Franklin to the battle, but they can't like plug in the car seat.
Yeah, that was very fun. That was
Yeah.
such a cute moment.
Yeah.
Where, like Sue's just watching as she's holding Franklin, and the other three are like trying to like get the car seat to like lock in and everything and get it all buckled in, and it was very funny.
Yeah. And the end credits is really interesting because it's a big time jump. It's 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big time jump.
And it's revealed like Sue reads him Darwin's Origins of Species.
Yeah, Franklin's smart. Just like his parents.
And then at the end, it just sees this dark ghost figure in hood with a mask just hanging out with Franklin. And it's obviously Doctor Doom.
Yeah, it's a very ominous, scary, honestly threatening ending.
Yeah.
And we don't see his face. I'm like, damn it, I wanted to see his face.
It's funny because Doctor Doom's origins, like if he has the mask off, it's like his face is horribly scarred. And I'm like, man, and like Franklin's just touching his face.
And we don't see it. Show us Robert Downey Jr.
If it is Robert Downey Jr. But also, Franklin, don't be... Hey, one thing you should learn as a kid, don't stare at injured people. That's mean. That's rude.
Also, don't talk to strangers.
Well, he is at the house, to be fair. But, you know...
He's breaking and entering.
It's ableism when you're just staring at Doctor Doom like that. Just saying.
Doom seemed fine with it, from what I could tell.
But also, like, that's like a weird thing. Doctor Doom, in this short clip, has been done better than any of the Doctor Dooms we've seen so far in the other movies. To be fair, like, the other movies didn't have bad acting for them. It's not the actor's fault.
R.I.P. Julian McMahon.
Yeah,
I loved his version of Doctor Doom. Like, I know it wasn't, like, of course, accurate to the comic book version of Doctor Doom, but I loved his take on the character. I thought his performance was brilliant in those movies.
I also thought if you just gave him a different script, he could have done well as Doctor Doom, but this is like... No, Doctor Doom in the comics is like it's a dark wizard king, something out of like a children's, like a horror book from a German folktale. And this, you get a horrible, scary Doctor Doom finally. We did Doom justice finally in these few seconds.
It was pretty terrifying and scary. I was like, get away from that kid.
Doctor Doom doesn't have to be a CEO or some tech bro who just becomes evil. No, he's a wizard king with a castle and a country and robots. He is like the epitome of like a comic book villain and mixed with a German folktale. That's Doctor Doom. We finally got it a bit.
A little bit, yeah. I'm excited to see him in Doomsday and Secret Wars, and how this post-credit scene factors in to that movie. Obviously, he wants something from Franklin, considering Franklin is a very powerful being, or will be as he grows older and older. So I'm interested to see how this plays into the movie and what Franklin and Doom and the rest of the Fantastic Four, how they're going to play into this and how they're going to interact with the regular Marvel Universe. I'm excited to see these characters interact with regular Marvel Universe characters because it's very different. It's a pretty different style and a different tone. So I'm excited to see them kind of cross over.
They show up to like the MCU and they go, "You mean you guys didn't solve world hunger and peace?" Man,
you're telling me like the public, especially encountering the new Avengers, who used to be the Thunderbolt, like
because they're gonna beat the Thunderbolts from the end scene, right?
Yeah, these new Avengers, so different from the Fantastic Four. They're going to be like, these are your heroes?
Yeah.
What the hell?
They're murderers. They suck. We brought world peace to our universe.
These guys are fucked up. Like, what do you mean?
Also, I bet Sue's going to see Dr. Doom in, like, the next clip, and she's going to crush him, and it's going to be a Doombot, because that's what always happens.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. I hope they do the old Doombot switcheroo in these movies. The classic switcheroo. Like, JK, that was just a Doombot I sent over. I really like back in Latveria.
Doing my Wizard King stuff.
Exactly.
By the way, like, if you guys aren't familiar with Dr. Doom, I only know Dr. Doom from our review of Dr. Doom and Ultimate Fantastic Four. When I say he's a Wizard King, and I don't mean it's a metaphor, I mean, like, he's literally a genius scientist / wizard / king of a country. He lives in a castle doing Wizard King stuff.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, the second post-credit scene was very fun. Just the cartoon that they showed and everything, the little clip. That was cute.
And they have the voice actors for the cast, too.
Yeah, no, exactly. Right before that, I thought the quote by Jack Kirby was really touching.
Oh, yeah.
And a good tribute to Jack Kirby, because I think Stan Lee has always historically gotten most of, if not all, the credit for Marvel and its characters, and it very unfairly. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that this movie especially seemed like it was very much focused on paying tribute to the king and paying tribute to Jack Kirby, and the quote was so well done. Even the Earth number for this Earth, it was 828, which is the day of Jack Kirby's birthday, August 28th. So
I love how Marvel just loves Stan Lee, but it's nice to see Ditko and Kirby get their due. And you and I were just talking about it right before. We both know Stan Lee. I'm a big Ditko fan, mostly because Jack Kirby, so in my mind, just gets melded with Stan Lee, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I think it was a very collaborative effort creating all these characters in this Marvel universe. And of course, Stan Lee was a big part of that. But you can't deny Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby and all these other artists their roles in creating this, because it was huge. It was just as big as Stan Lee, if not bigger, because they were doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the creative process, especially if you look at the whole Marvel method and how they did a good chunk of the plotting and the pacing of the comics and the big ideas for these stories. So I'm glad that creators and artists like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko are getting their due. Even posthumously.
Yeah. Stan Lee was the more business focus of the three of them, for better or for worse, I feel.
Yeah, he was the big PR guy. He was more of the salesman. He definitely knew how to talk to the public more and engage, which was very important and got Marvel on the radar and more in the mainstream over time.
Yeah.
So they all had huge parts to play. I'm glad they're all getting their due and all getting the credit they deserve.
Oh yeah. And I feel, for better or for worse, in Marvel, Stan Lee as a presence is just so big and you're just in the shadow. It's the reason Stan Lee shows up in Deadpool, even though he had nothing to do with Deadpool or Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
He leaves a lasting legacy, and people are standing on the shoulders of people like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko, all these artists and creators.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into the characters. I wanted to discuss more in depth, how the characters were done in these movies, just starting with Mr. Fantastic himself. I thought Pedro Pascal was wonderful as Reed Richards. I was skeptical a little at first, because I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, Pedro Pascal again, or, because he's in so many things. But I mean, I love Pedro Pascal.
I'll be honest, I like Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. He does the classic thing of Mr. Fantastic is not just a superhero, it's a genius scientist. And he shows up in this nice suit like some of my science professors in college. But he looks so much like Pedro Pascal, like he does in everything else, with the mustache, the curly hair, and I'm that took me a bit out of it. I'm Come on.
I mean, that's just who he is. He can't help that.
Yeah, but like, okay, is this Pedro Pascal or is this Mr. Fantastic? Which one is it?
It's both.
Uh, I saw every other character. I'm like, I disappeared into that character. Vanessa Kirby is a wonderful Sue Storm. Everyone else is wonderful as a character, and so is he. But I'm like, that's Pedro Pascal. Not that he did
But
a bad job, but I was like, that's Pedro
I think
Pascal.
he brought all the best aspects of Reed Richards to the forefront. I think first and foremost, he brought a warmth to the character,
Yeah,
which is pretty necessary because a lot of the time Reed Richards can get very obsessive and a little too cold and calculating when he gets too invested in science and his research and his studies. And I think that there are moments where that shows very well too in this movie, like the line that Sue gives to Reed when she says, "Sometimes you being you hurts me,"
yeah,
which is like, ooh, that hurts.
yeah.
But that's about him considering every possibility and thinking about all the variables and consequences. Even if he's not going to do it, he still has it on his mind because he is a scientist. And that is a big part of his character. But I think more than that, what this movie shows first and foremost is that he's a husband, he's a father, he's like a family man. The energy that Pedro Pascal brings just to like the character. My favorite version of Reed Richards from the comics is in the Mark Waid, Mike Wieringo run. I think that's because it's showing first and foremost there is this warmth to him and this loving, like fatherly aspect to him that supersedes any of like the, oh, I'm the cold, aloof scientist that sometimes gets, I think it gets misconstrued in like all the worst versions of the characters. I'm like, all right, but he's not socially a moron in that way. Like he loves his family.
He's a regular guy, really, who's just also super, super smart.
Yeah, he's a big old nerd.
Yeah, it's
and
like
obsessed with science, but he also loves his family and is committed to them and creating a better world for them.
he's supposed to be, in my opinion, Red Ridge is like some of the guys you knew, like as professors, who were like really knowledgeable about their topic, and they're a little awkward, but it doesn't mean like they're Benedict Cumberbatch levels of like unusual or inhuman.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of that is best demonstrated when you show him like getting ready for the baby to arrive at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Like he does a very like methodical checklist of like, all right, baby proofing the house. We got to get the cabinets. We got to get all the knives away. We got to check off this and check off that. And he's having Herbie build him the crib so he can get that.
The other one is that he has like a Neil deGrasse Tyson, Stephen Hawking's, Bill Nye-esque show for the children, which shows that like
really
he's not
funny.
totally inept. Like maybe he's not the best at communicating, but he could do it. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything he does for the world and for his family and like the families all over the planet too.
Yeah. I get really tired of like the great scientist tropes on like sci-fi and comics where they go, he's bad at talking to people and he doesn't know what's happening in the world because he's just obsessed with science. Most scientists are not like that in real life. I've met some in real life. They're mostly normal people who are really smart, and that's this for Richards. It's you just turn up the genius to 11. This guy's focused on like he knows what criminals are in the city. He knows about different stuff. He just is also really smart and has a job.
Yeah, he's very media friendly and very public facing.
Yeah.
And that's part of the Fantastic Four being celebrities. I think it's also cool in that montage of him, in his own way, he knows how to prepare for the baby too.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you have him baby proofing the city, which is like, oh yeah, I found the gangs for Diablo, the Puppet Master, and the Wizard.
Yeah.
And he just like calls the cops on all of them. And he's like, there, city's safer for our baby.
And I think the cops had flying cars too. He gave him flying cars.
It's a very methodical, scientific way to go about it, but also the sentiment is very sweet and very loving from him, and he's just trying to take care of his family.
Yeah. I didn't like the mustache though, and I did feel bad that John Krasinski wasn't Reed Richards.
John Krasinski got his cameo, and I feel like that's all the fan service we could have asked for.
What about Daniel Craig Reed Richards? Well, we forgot about him.
I don't know. Maybe in another world, but I love Pedro Pascal's version.
Is Reed Richards the most cast Marvel character now? I meant that like they literally just cast him with the most actors. They had the actor from the first few movies. We had the Fantastic actor. I forgot his name. We have John Krasinski. Now we have Pedro. That's 4 actors for Mr. Fantastic live action. Other than like Batman, which there's been way more Batman movies, and that's DC. I don't think there's been that many actors cast for any one Marvel character.
Maybe Spider-Man?
No, because that's just 3. Tobey, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless we count like Nicholas Hammond from like the 70s TV show.
I'm not counting that one.
or Japanese Spider-Man.
I forgot about you. Okay. As far as like the recent Marvel movies go, the fact that they cast Reed Richards so much makes me think of maybe they should just do a Council of Reeds adaptation, just because there's just so many Reed Richards at this point. Reed's
That
Richards.
would be very cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see that in like Doomsday or Secret Wars. That
I
would be
hope we
very
find it,
fun.
because I feel like all the actors for Fantastic Four we've had so far have been wonderful. They just haven't had a good script.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we get to The Invisible Woman, the standout for me, one of the standouts of the movie.
Vanessa Kirby is a wonderful actress. She's a rising star.
Yeah, I hadn't seen her in anything else before this.
The Crown,
I never watched The Crown.
Michael and Hobbs, the Fast and Furious spinoff.
Oh, I never watched any of those movies.
Oh, wow. The Crown's not even a movie. It's a TV show.
Well, I'm talking about The Fast and the Furious. I know what The Crown is. I just
Okay.
never watched it.
Really? It's such a good... It's... Oh, anyway. She's in, like, so many stuff nowadays. She's in Napoleon.
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't a good movie, but she was fine in it.
Anyways, I love her performance in this. Again, she is the big den mother of the group, like we were talking about. She is a big leader in the sense that she holds them all together.
She is very much the leader, like you said. It reminds me, though, back in the day, they asked people, were like, they had a comic where the Fantastic Four read fan mail, and they asked, the biggest question was, what does the Invisible Woman do?
That's actually one of the worst comics from the Lee Kirby run. That is like one of the most sexist, misogynist comics I have ever read.
Took attention to that because they then changed the Invisible Woman from then on.
Yeah, I mean, what's really funny is how this movie takes so much inspiration from the Lee Kirby run. My biggest complaint of the Lee Kirby run is just the fact that Sue Storm was written so terribly, because Stan Lee, love him to death, R.I.P., could not write a woman to save his life. That was a glaring issue with that run. I mean, it's all time, in my top 5 comic book runs of all time, that's still a pretty big issue. If you look at the original comics, when Sue is pregnant in the Lee Kirby run, she's basically taken out of the book for a time.
Yeah.
Like, she's still there, but she's out of the action. And not that she was hugely part of the action to begin with. She's always on the sidelines a lot of the time. She has moments here and there where she does stuff, but like when she's pregnant in the original comics, she's replaced by Crystal from the Inhumans for a bit, and then after she gives birth, she comes back to the team. In this movie, what's great is that even while she's pregnant, she plays an active role in this movie, and she's very take charge, and she's very much going above and beyond, considering she's very pregnant at like when they go into space. She's so like, she's about to go into labor when they go into space to meet Galactus and the Silver Surfer. And she does so much. She goes into labor while they're escaping, and she makes the ship invisible for them for 30 seconds. She like is fighting off the Silver Surfer and everything. She's doing a lot. She's doing so much, considering. It's insane how cool the Invisible Woman is. And I think they take inspiration probably from the more modern runs. If you're thinking like even going back to like the 80s, like the John Byrne run, and then from then onwards, when she transitioned from the Invisible Girl to the Invisible Woman, finally, from that point onwards, it felt like they took a lot of inspiration from the version now that we know and love from the comics.
It's interesting because she's also like you said, she's a den mother, but it seems like she's also the head administrator of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's the one that negotiates world peace. Like, she is very much the leader, and Reed is very much like the technical guy on the sidelines to a certain degree.
Yeah, he's the ideas man. He's the genius of the team, and that keeps them going forward. But Sue is, like you're saying, like the administrative leader, and she's the one talking to the UN and helping to achieve diplomatic relations with Subterranea.
Yeah.
And she's the most compassionate out of all of them. I mean, like, the mole man listens to her. At the beginning of the movie, he's like, I don't like people, but I like Sue Storm. Like, I'm okay with her.
It's also funny because when we see the mole man again, he also doesn't like Reed, and Reed doesn't like him.
Yeah, but he listens to Sue. She convinces him to help evacuate New York into Subterranea near the end of the movie because she's that well-loved and respected among the community.
Among the mole people.
Yeah, among the mole people even, along with like the rest of the world. I mean, that's why it's her speech about like about her family and her backstory with Johnny and their parents, and her speech about the Earth being part of her family that sways people to get back on the Fantastic Four's side and to join them in like the effort to stop Galactus. She's the one that does this, like, because that's just how well loved and respected and admired she is on the world stage.
And I know Vanessa Kirby in interviews has also said she played the role as if Sue was a de facto leader of the team too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's very clear.
yeah.
I mean, she has so many moments, and I think she has such a good dynamic with every other member of the team. Obviously, with Reed, because they're married, but Johnny is her little brother, and she has a connection with Ben, the Thing, too. I feel they're on like that same wavelength. There's even that like fun moment where Johnny and Ben are talking in their room or whatever, and she just appears out of nowhere because she was invisible the whole time on the bed. And I don't know, it's like fun moments where she can be funny
Yeah.
and like clever and pull pranks on the guys too in that same way.
Yeah.
But she's also super strong and compassionate and just very take charge, takes the initiative, helps them get where they need to go. And again, she got the most badass scene of the movie where she pushes Galactus with all of her might into this portal
And dies in the process.
Yeah, she dies because she goes so hard on Galactus. But yeah, then we get to the Human Torch, who I feel like is the next standout of the movie.
Also,
There's so many different dimensions to this character. Like in the beginning, like he's the one who's excited and itching to get back into space again and wants to go on adventures and explore more. He's the one that's like pushing for Reed to be like, hey, have you designed the new suits yet for our voyage? Are we going yet?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he's so excited when they finally have a reason to go when they have to go and see Galactus.
Yeah.
But that is like his role is like he's excited and eager to like go out there. Just like Sue, he is taking initiative and taking charge and being like, hey, let's go, guys. Come on.
He and the Thing are also the most heroic of the four. Not that the other two aren't, but he literally offers himself to Galactus twice as a sacrifice. He offers to die or be gone twice.
Yeah, because once when he talks to the Silver Surfer and he's like, take me instead. And the second at the end of the movie when he is about to sacrifice himself to put Galactus into that portal.
Yeah, and there's a good scene where he goes like, "Hey, Sue, Franklin, Uncle Johnny loved him," and he literally was ready to die for
it was
his.
So heroic.
Yeah, actually, this one is really smart. He does decode a language with math.
Yeah,
yeah.
He decodes an entire language and translates, and that is a pivotal plot point to getting the Silver Surfer on their side so they can beat Galactus.
Yeah.
Like that's huge. And it's like just goes to show how understated his intelligence is. Like they make him very smart in this movie.
To go to space in real life, you got like they literally ask on the resume like how many PhDs do you have or something. He's very smart. He's very heroic. He and the Thing have a rivalry, but it's not like over the top and cruel like it is in the original movie where Thing is like lost his fiance, his life is having trouble adjusting, and Johnny's just flaunting how much fun it's having in front of him, and it just seems cruel.
Yeah, no, they have a good dynamic, and it's a friendly kind of brotherly dynamic that they have in this movie, which I like. And he's also dunking on Reed every chance he gets, which is hilarious, because there are times where you're like, yeah, you kind of deserve that one, Reed, some of the cracks, just because of how he is sometimes. The whole subplot, once again, with the Silver Surfer was so great. In some ways, it reminded me of the original Silver Surfer moment with Alicia in the original Galactus trilogy. In others, it was like another instance of Johnny from the comics chasing after a doomed romance, like in the original Kirby Lee stuff where he was chasing after Crystal from the Inhumans. And we're like, buddy, that's not going to end well.
Yeah. He's also the most celebrity-like of all the guys because he literally has like, instead of that little girl, it's him as the model for sunscreen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we get the Thing, who always has been, always will be my favorite of the Fantastic Four. And they don't disappoint. He stays winning. He is literally the rock of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many moments where you're like, oh, this guy is there whenever you need him. He's the one who's going to be there for you in a pinch.
Yeah.
There's so many subtle moments with him. He's the first one when Sue and Reed come to the table. He immediately can tell, oh, you're pregnant.
It's intelligent.
Sue. And when they're about to like go into space to meet with Galactus, he's there for Reed to be like, hey, it's going to be okay, Stretch. And there's a good dynamic with them of like old friends where he's like joking around and teasing him, but he's making him feel better, you know? And he's like, you got to stop feeling guilty about what happened in the ship when we transformed. Like, it's not your fault. And like, we're all together and we're going to be okay.
The one thing I really like though is that he's not just dumb, like, he is very much the pilot of the group. Like, he knows all the pilot lingo. He knows, like, how to pilot a plane. He's an astronaut. Like, he's got to know some engineering and math. And he goes, like, hey, calculations say we can't make it around the sun at this speed. I could try losing it in this way.
Yeah, like that's important and part of the aspect of this character. He's super smart because he's a pilot, for
Yeah.
God's sake. So that's a big deal. So I'm glad they highlight so many aspects of his character that show he's not just the big dumb jock of the group. They highlight the fact that he is a pilot, and also they make a point for the first time in the movies that he's Jewish. He goes to temple near the end of the movie before the final fight, and that's a big deal
Yeah.
because that's a big part of the character from the comics. Is that he's a Jewish kid from New York, grew up on Yancey Street.
Like Jack Kirby and Stan Lee.
Yeah, very much like Jack Kirby, especially.
Yeah.
They're basically the same guy.
There's this interesting thing where like a lot of characters in especially Marvel comics, were written to be Jewish, and editorial wrote like changed their background, and then like even the ones that are Jewish, they just don't show it in the movies when they have a chance. So this is like one of the first times we see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's super important to show that,
Yeah.
I think, and give like the proper representation on screen.
Yeah.
And I love the scene of him walking down Yancey Street too near the beginning, and he knows everyone's names, and he's entertaining the kids by like lifting up a car for them, and that's just like classic Ben Grimm material, like straight out of the comics. Like that's just what he does.
He frequents small businesses that he knows.
Yeah, he goes to like the bakery around the corner and he says hi to this person and he helps this woman get her luggage into the trunk of her car.
Yeah.
And he's just your average everyday neighborhood guy that grew up on Yancey Street, but he was so gifted and intelligent that he made it out and he became a pilot and he went into space, but he never really forgot where he came from. He never forgot his roots, you know?
He also has a lot, unlike the original thing in the movies, he has a lot of agility with his fingers. Like, we saw him, like, cooking. He could, like, dip his fingers into soup and, like, know the precise. He wears a suit.
Yeah, I love seeing him wearing, like, regular clothes in this movie. There's something so funny about it, but, like, very satisfying. I'm like, wow, he's adjusted so well to being the Thing.
Yeah. He also could carry that, like, Titanic-esque boat. Like, the Thing fights the Hulk regularly, and I'm like, this Thing could fight the Hulk. And, like, I don't know what the result would be, which is the point of one of the points of the Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I think it's very cool that they make him a good cook in this movie, too. Which is funny, because Eben Moss Baccarat in The Bear, his character, knowing that and knowing the role he plays in that show about being in a kitchen environment, it's very funny at a restaurant.
I have not seen The Bear.
It's an intense show, but, like, his character, I saw it and I was like, yep, that's the Thing. And they made him a good cook in this, and I thought that was a fun detail to add in, just like his character from The Bear.
I did like he's not rude to her, but he goes like, hey, I'm gonna add this. It's not that yours is bad, it's just I'm gonna add a little flavor. Oomph.
Yeah, a little extra something.
Yeah.
The recurring bit about it's clobbering time was very well done.
Yeah. But the thing is, I don't know why every movie insists on he's not going to say it's clobbering time.
We know he's going to do it.
Yeah.
That's like why Johnny keeps egging him on. He's like, come on, what time is it? Come on.
Yeah.
I can get how Ben would be tired of it after a certain point because now everyone just wants him to say it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the exhaustion of being a celebrity. It's like, okay, they just want me to say it. And he's like, guys, it's just the cartoon. But I really liked the moment where he does say it, when Johnny's carrying him. And it's like, because it's a big moment. It's intense. It's high stakes. They're facing down against Galactus. And he's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But I love the acting in that moment because from the way Ben says it, you can tell it's from this high stress moment where he's like, you know what? Fuck it. It's clobbering time. And he punches Galactus in the face. I was like, that was cool. And I think it's just cool how he's just always there when he's needed. At the end of the movie, when Sue is like pushing Galactus over and Galactus is like leaning his arm on a building to get a foothold, Ben's like, hang on, Susie. And he like knocks down the support beams for this building so Galactus can fall into the portal.
Yeah.
It's just little moments like that where you're like, dang, he's just always there for whatever need arises on the team. And that's what it's all about, being the Thing. He's the guy that you want in your corner.
He also is the one that saves Reed, because right when Reed's about to finally, you think it might snap, when Galactus is tearing him apart, Johnny drops him across Galactus's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only issue with that, I just wish the punch had been a little harder. Yeah. I wish it had been felt harder by Galactus.
Yeah.
I really would have liked to see him just deck Galactus and knock him over, but
there's no way they could do that even in the comics. Like, Galactus is like, he eats a planet every once in a while. Just saying.
He did it once before in the John Byrne run, but I think, to be fair, at that point, Galactus had been significantly weakened.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll say is that the beard that he grew,
I forgot about that.
That was foul.
That was disgusting.
I thought it was very funny that they did it and really cool, especially because it made sense story wise. Because like it was an electric shaver and they weren't allowed to use power, so he was just like, I'll grow out a beard. It's
Yeah.
a fun character thing because I feel like in real life there's so many times where people are like, should I grow a beard? I'll try it out. And he's like, oh, I think it looks good.
Yeah.
In reality, it's like, dude, you gotta shave that thing. I don't care how cool you think it looks.
That's been most of my times trying to grow facial hair, is that it looks disgusting.
I spent several years with a beard, and I think after a while I kind of admitted, you know what? I kind of prefer just being clean shaven. Or
I
if,
think you look better with the
at
beard.
most I'll have stubble. You think I look better with a beard?
Yeah, kind of.
Man, we should take a poll. I'm gonna like put pictures of myself side by side and be like, hey, beard or no beard?
I do not look good with a beard. I occasionally look okay with a beard, but that's the extent of it.
But I thought this was a cool reference to and a nod to in the Jonathan Hickman run. There's this story that shows that the thing is going to live like 4,000 years into the future because he only ages when he's in human form. And this serum that Reed gave him allows him to be human 1 week in a year. So he's going to live long after the rest of the Fantastic Four are gone. And in that story, he's grown this like rock beard. So this was a really cool Easter egg and like a nod to that story. So I liked it for that.
Yeah. I forgot about that. That actually makes sense. I thought this was something they just made for the movie, but you reminding me of that makes me go, yeah, that makes sense with what happens in the comics.
It was cool.
Yeah. Should we talk about Galactus?
Hell yeah. My boy is solid again. He's not a cloud anymore.
I thought they did Galactus well, but he's not a very complicated character in this one. To be fair, I don't think he's ultra complicated in the comics. I know they add to him a lot, but still, he's a giant monster that eats planets. Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, his basic motivations are sympathetic and make sense.
Yeah.
The guy's got to eat, and at the same time, he's looking to get a successor out of Franklin, so that way he doesn't have to eat anymore. He doesn't want to be hungry anymore.
He's just like a natural part of the universe. He just eats planets every once in a while.
He's just a natural force. The guy's just hungry. He can't help it.
Yeah.
He's got to eat.
He's not evil.
This is the only thing that will sate his hunger.
He's not evil.
He's a force of nature.
Yeah, but like, if you're a chicken, humans are evil.
Yeah. Exactly. We're evil to them.
Yeah.
And he's evil to us because he wants to eat us.
Yeah.
He's just hungry.
Yeah. He has to eat planets with life in it, right? That's this thing.
No, he doesn't have to.
Oh, he could just eat any planet.
Yeah.
So Jackass could eat Mars, and he just chooses not to.
He's like, Earth looks pretty good to me. I think it's like the nutrients or whatever. Maybe there aren't enough nutrients in Mars that will quell his hunger the way Earth does.
I do know he also likes to eat planets with like the celestial eggs on them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like he's aiming for that or if that's just like a happy coincidence.
I just love how he's just back to being a giant Chad with a massive home base, just like in the comics, like this very Kirby-esque design for his whole ship and all the equipment. It's very sci-fi and very cool. And he's like looks very intimidating and very imposing and menacing.
It's a horror monster. That's the thing. It's like an eldritch horror. I love the idea that he only looks human because humans just can't perceive something that horrible that isn't human, and any other alien sees him and they see themselves too.
Yeah, no, definitely. The perception of Galactus just all depends on which species you are. Yeah. But I love how they reference his comic book origin too a little bit because they say he predates this universe.
Mm-hmm.
Referencing how in the comics he was from like a previous iteration of the universe and he survived the ending of one universe and that turned him into the being that he is today, surviving that destruction, surviving into the Big Bang and the inception of this universe.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so the stakes are so high for this movie because they're facing such a major existential threat, this force of nature that is Galactus come to end their planet. And I think he's like the perfect like antagonist for this movie. I wouldn't necessarily call him the villain because he's just a force of nature. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, if there's movies where like there's a lion that eats people, isn't that lion the villain of that movie?
Yeah, true enough.
And he's a giant purple guy who eats people.
He's a giant purple lion.
Yeah.
There's so many moments where he's like, I used to be small like you. When he lands on Earth and he just gives the side eye to the Statue of Liberty, and he's just thinking, weak sauce. I remember when I was 5 years old. Juice up, get that protein, get those carbs, get those veggies.
I really like the scene where he's like kneeling and he like picks up dirt and a tree and like sniffs it, and I'm like, this is like a guide like saying, is this place good to eat? I don't know.
Yeah, he's grocery shopping. Like he's going down the produce aisle.
He does torture the Silver Surfer when she fails him, which is a dick move though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's not good.
Yeah.
That's for sure. He's not a good guy.
Yeah. This kind of sounds like a villain to me. Is here to
Yeah.
eat your planet.
It's so funny though, because his connection to Franklin and his desire to have Franklin to sate his hunger, I think it reminds me of the Hickman run when Franklin Richards from the future uses the power of his younger self, and it's the opposite situation where he makes Galactus his herald. That like badass moment where he's like, "To me, my Galactus," and I was like, that was so awesome.
It's crazy. Galactus, this is his first real appearance, in my opinion, in movies. But he's enough of a big deal that his reference in the movie Vice, where it says Dick Cheney's ultimate goal is to become Galactus, destroyer of worlds.
That's hilarious. I think he's just awesome in this movie. He's even smart too, because when he sees the Fantastic Four trying to trap him in the teleporter, you see that moment where he's about to step in and then he stops and he steps back because he's like, "Oh, I see what you're trying to do now. You're not going to lead me into this trap like I'm some big dumb animal."
The thing they do is like they burn his eyes, and he just like wipes his eyes with like windshield wipers in his own helmet or something.
Yeah.
And he goes like, I'm a big guy who eats planets. I'm not an animal."
Yeah.
And I think he even like chuckles a bit because like, nice try, guys. I'm gonna eat your planet.
Yeah. Like as if you wish you could get me.
Kind of reminds me of like the scene in the I don't think this is in the books, but in the show War and Peace, there's a scene where Napoleon goes to this Russian guy, goes like, "It's not your fault. I'm gonna take your country now." And Galactus is like, "It's not your fault, guys. Just the way things are. But I'm gonna eat your planet."
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. I thought Julia Garner was great as Silver Surfer, by the way, if only a little underused. Actually, not really. No, I think she was great as Silver Surfer.
I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. There was obviously a big controversy around, oh, the Silver Surfer's a woman now.
It's
the
woke.
MCU's gone woke.
They say it's woke every single time. There's a slight change they don't like. Black Stormtrooper, woke.
Yeah, I'm like, first of all, it's not that big of a deal because this is based on an existing character.
Yeah.
They just switched the roles. They're like, instead of Nor and Rad, let's just do Shala Bal, who is traditionally just the Silver Surfer's love interest. Let's make her the Silver Surfer for a change. So it's a cool twist on the story. It's kind of like a what if scenario.
Yeah.
We've seen the Silver Surfer story with Nor and Rad on film before. We saw Nor and Rad in Rise of the Silver Surfer back in 2007, and he was awesome in that movie. I think it's kind of like a good twist that was needed. Otherwise, why do you want to get exactly what you expect and what you think we're going to get out of the movie? Why can't we be surprised by like, oh, this is a new take on this character?
Exactly.
And plus, this is a different universe than the main MCU. So there's always the idea that maybe Noran Rad's Silver Surfer could be in the MCU proper and we'll meet him later. Like, it's not a big deal. And I think she plays like all the essential parts of the Silver Surfer so well too. I don't think you lose really anything by changing it to be Shala Bal instead of Noran Rad.
Yeah. I also thought Julie Garner plays this idea that the Silver Surfer is this alien you just can't understand for the most of the movie. She's semi-godlike. Like, she literally is like, I herald the destruction of your planet. Congratulations. Get ready to die. Make peace with your god. Like,
Yeah.
she did that so well. And then, like, towards the end, when Johnny figures it all out, it's like this idea that, like, then she becomes more human once you figure it out. Like, it's just so good.
Yeah, I think she does play, like you're saying, super well, this very ominous, menacing role as the Herald of Galactus, and very mysterious, like, who is that? What is going on? And what's her deal? It makes her seem like some kind of threat, and then you learn more about her and how she became the Surfer. Then you tap into the classic guilt about how she helped Galactus murder trillions and bunches of planets. That is like what you want from the Silver Surfer in this role in the Galactus saga. It's the redemption arc that she gets straight out of the comics to help defeat Galactus. And I think it's really cool seeing that. Julia Garner plays the role so well.
Yeah, she's a great actress. Not that it's a bad thing. I did think Silver Surfer, very powerful. It's a bit underpowered in this movie. Like, she doesn't have the power cosmic in this movie. She's very powerful, but not power cosmic powerful, you know?
She seemed pretty powerful to me. I don't know.
I don't think, like they can't beat her, but like...
Yeah, they never beat her. Like, she really, like, gives them a run for their money.
But, like, I did like the scene where, like, she's blasted off a surfer and falls into the black hole, and, like, she's obviously screaming in pain and like, terror, but, like, she still escapes. That being said, I'm like, the Silver Surfer in the comics could, like, turn buildings and tanks into stone. Not the worst change, but still.
Who knows if we'll see this version of the character again, or if we'll see a different version of the Silver Surfer again, but I really enjoyed it, and I hope we see at least some iteration of the Silver Surfer again in the MCU.
I think the problem with Marvel movies, everyone says, like, they have one-shot villains. If Silver Surfer and Galactus are one-shot villains, they were as good as one-shot villains as you can get. They were genuinely a threat, and Silver Surfer just had so much backstory to her in the few moments you see her that...
They were very true to what you see in the original comics, too.
Yeah.
So, especially in the Galactus trilogy that Lee and Kirby did.
Yeah,
that's pretty much all I had in terms of thoughts on the movie. Do you have any other follow-up thoughts, Josh?
No, I think I said my piece. I love this movie. I liked it more than Superman, actually. Not that Superman was bad in any way, but...
Yeah, I loved Superman. I gotta give this movie a rewatch because I'm not sure. At first, I was like, I loved Superman, but at the same time, like, the more I talk about it, the more I like stew on it. I really do love the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
I'm just glad Marvel and DC, we're getting some bangers of superhero movies this month. So we're really on a roll here. Nerds are still winning.
Yeah. What about Jurassic Park?
I didn't see it.
Neither did I. Hey. I did know, like, it made a ton of money because ScarJo, like, broke a world record with it, but...
Yeah. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
I haven't seen most of the Jurassic Park
I stopped
movies,
watching
to be
after
honest.
a bit, honestly. The first few are, like, fine. The new ones, first few are fine, and then it goes, like, we're on 10 or 11 now? What happened?
Yeah, like, how can we keep going with this?
Yeah.
The thing is, people aren't going to stop loving dinosaurs, so...
Yeah, dinosaurs are cool. But if your big thing is dinosaurs escape a park, there's a limit to what you could do with that story, you know?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But anyways, thanks so much for listening, guys. If you guys want to reach out to us and talk to us about what you think of our show, of the movies we watch / comics we read, Josh, where can they email us?
They can email us at ultimatecomicspodcast@gmail.com. And remember, that's comics, that's plural, so that's ultimatecomics.podcast@gmail.com.
That is right. Email us with your thoughts, and we'd love to hear from you, and we might end up reading it on the show one day.
Yeah.
As soon as we get mail. But in the meantime, if that's too old school for you, we're available on so many social media channels: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. It's all at Ultimate Comics Podcast. Like our short clips on YouTube, our TikToks, our Instagram Reels, the images we post on Instagram with the comics we read. Follow along, and we'd love to have you on board as we go on this wild ride of ours. But until next time we will be reading Ultimate X-Men again. It's going to be Ultimate X-Men 50 through 53.
Wow.
It's going to be very exciting.
We're almost 100 issues.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Halfway there.
Halfway there.
Take care, everyone, and make mine Ultimate Marvel. Bye-bye.